In the 2.5 days that have elapsed since Forrest's death on Thursday evening, a line from Albert Camus has persisted in my mind. What does it matter what we have lost, Camus wondered, when what we have left is enough? For my part, it matters a great deal what we have lost. When we gather to celebrate Forrest's life on Saturday afternoon, we will consider in some detail the scope of his accomplishments and the depth of his impact, both of which were extensive. We've lost a lot, and it matters, not only to our community and our nation, but also to us, Forrest's family and congregation. Carolyn has lost a devoted husband. Frank and Nina have lost a loving father, and Jacob and Nathan a loving stepfather. The members and friends of All Souls have lost a minister of 30 years. This is a time of sadness for all of us. We've lost a lot. The outpouring of love and expressions of loss on the All Souls tribute pages and on Facebook, as well as elsewhere, bespeak a grief that's far deeper than words. Here in the sanctuary and in the chapel, candles have burned brightly into the night, beacons of love to push back the dark. We've lost a lot, and it matters. It matters to me as well. Over the past 16 years, Forrest and I enjoyed a profound friendship and forged an unusually fertile partnership. The reason is simple. Forrest took me seriously as a minister, and he gave me room to grow. Over time, we found that each of us became a better minister as we were both challenged and supported by someone whose preaching we admired, whose intellect we respected, and whose judgment we took seriously. We were a good team for each other and for All Souls. My last extended conversation with Forrest, just before his swift decline began 2 weeks ago, ended with a simple request from him: take care of All Souls. He knew I would. And I will. But I will not soon reconcile myself to his absence. I miss him fiercely. We have lost a lot, and it matters hugely. Despite our loss, Camus says that what we have left is enough. What do we have left? And is it enough? Jane Campion's poignant and heartbreaking new movie, Bright Star, tells about the final 2 years in the life of celebrated English poet John Keats. Born in London in 1795, Keats encountered tragedy early. His father, a prosperous coachman, died in a riding accident when the future poet was 8, and his mother died of tuberculosis when he was 14. Left impoverished and unable to pursue his medical studies, Keats subsisted on the largesse of friends and began writing poetry. His early efforts were undistinguished, but by 1818, when he turned 23, Keats had developed a distinctive poetic voice. He had also developed symptoms of tuberculosis. Over the course of the following year, Keats wrote almost all of his major poems. He died in Rome at the age of 25. Some of the similarities between Keats and Forrest are obvious. Both were bright stars in lone splendor hung aloft in their respective firmaments, whose light shone early and dimmed too soon. Both grappled with the formative counterpoint of love and death in their lives and in their writings. And both wrote with a zeal and perseverance that few writers can match. I can imagine Forrest saying, as Keats did, "When I have fears that I may cease to be before my pen has gleaned my teeming brain, before high-piled books in charactery hold like rich garners the full-ripened grain." Forrest has certainly left us a rich garner of books, as Keats did poems. This, too, we have left. But what the words of both capture at their best is not so much a way of thinking as it is a way of living. Their focus is on experience rather than ideas. One of Keats' best-loved poems is La Belle Dame sans Merci, a lovely ballad about Keats' love for Fanny Braun. Their relationship, passionate and enduring, yet ultimately unconsummated, provides the frame for Jane Campion's movie about Keats. Early in the movie, Fanny comes one afternoon to the simple room where Keats is boarding with a friend. She has found his presence beguiling and his poetry intriguing, and she wants to understand his work. She asks him to say something about the craft of poetry. His face darkens, and he retorts that the idea of poetry as a craft is a sham. If poetry does not come as naturally as leaves to a tree, he says, it had better not come at all. Fanny is perplexed by this answer and replies that she still doesn't know how to work out a poem. "You do not work out a poem," Keats insists. "That would undo its magic." He goes on to explain that poems are best understood through the senses, through your capacity for being in uncertainties, mysteries, and doubts. The point of diving into a lake, Keats explains, isn't immediately to swim to the shore, but to be in the lake, to luxuriate in the sensation of water. You do not work the lake out. It is an experience beyond thought. Poetry soothes and emboldens the soul to accept mystery. Fanny replies, "I love mystery."